You know what the scariest part of developing a game is? Watching other people try it. And I just went through the first round of playtesting for my fighting game, and it was quite an experience. So in this video, I'm going to tell you all about how I prepared my game for playtesting and how the first round of playtesting went. The first step in preparing for the playtest was to completely redo the lobby and general game loop to make it less clunky. You see, up until this point, the game loop went as follows. Enter lobby, select your character, start match by pressing a button, play the match, the winner is declared, return to the lobby, and repeat. And this is fine as a starting point, but it's too slow and feels like shit sometimes due to how quick the matches go in my game. So I needed something better, something interesting, something which doesn't mess with the flow of the game, something cool. And I pondered, how on earth can I create something which stands out? How can I design a system which fits with the game but is also simple and foolproof? How can I, a mere college student, possibly improve on a system which has been proven to work time and again? And then it hit me. Stick Fight. Stick Fight the game has a lobby which is exactly what I'm looking for. So I downloaded Stick Fight and ran a few rounds with my man Olm, and the ideas just started flowing. I knew how I was going to fix my lobby. The change only took a few hours. The hardest part was adding some logic to make sure that the players were not destroyed upon the end of a match, and were simply deactivated in a way which allowed the game manager to still detect when a player had won. The game loop now goes as follows. Enter lobby, select your character, start a match by killing your opponent, play roughly 5 matches with the winner declared at the end of each. This will be a variable eventually which can be changed to play more or less matches. Return to the lobby, and repeat. Since this fantastic new lobby system was now working, I decided it was time to add a few more stages. So I loaded into Project Plus and designed a few new stages based on my favorites from that game. When designing these new maps, I tried to put an emphasis on the variety of different things I could include in the map. So I added pillars and ramps and new sizes to the platforms, anything to kind of make each map different than all the others. Because then as you play through it, it's not like every map feels too similar to everything else, and it keeps the game feeling fresh, because, oh wow, this map is really different than this other one because it has 2 ramps instead of 1 ramp, or it has no ramps. It kind of changes the way you play the game on each and every map. And finally, it was time for the main event, the first playtest. We had all assembled in my room ready for a first look at my game. We loaded it up, but before we even had a chance to run a few matches, it all broke. As is so often the case in game development, some minor edge case showed itself, and the whole game's functionality went to shit. Basically, the game manager said fuck you to everything else and stopped resetting the game properly. This led to every match being declared a draw. After a soul-crushing 2 hours spent searching through my code for answers, I stumbled upon the issue. A single line of code which sent a signal to the player telling them to reset was in the wrong place, and what was happening was the player was being reset before the universal health script even knew they were dead. Because of this, the player would be reset and then die again immediately, but this time, reset would not be called, so the player was permanently removed from the player list, meaning matches would end in a draw due to no players being left on the list. Once this issue was fixed, I was ready to playtest the game again. And I think it went really well. Everyone seemed to enjoy what I had in my game so far, and they all had really good feedback, which I've been slowly implementing along with the other stuff I've added since then. A lot of this feedback was around how the aerial combat feels. Right now, the way the game handles aerial movement is by applying a multiplier to your movement speed while you are in the air to slow you down. This works well enough, but doesn't preserve any momentum you had when you left the ground, so the air feels slow to move through. The ideal solution to this, which I haven't implemented yet, is a small change that will still apply the multiplier to your movement speed, but also retain any momentum you brought into the air with you. Most of the other feedback from the playtest was related to little quality of life things, such as adding health bars, a controls menu, little tweaks to movement speed, damage and knockbacks, and various other little bits and bobs. Now that the first playtest was behind me, the next step was to begin implementing character art into the game. So I spoke to Finn about my ideas for the first character, Astro, and the conversation went something like this.
What's up, man?
I think Astro should look something like this.
Oh, shit, you mean like this?
Yeah. Now, while this isn't in the game yet, Finn's a really busy guy, we do have some concepts for a couple of his animations which will hopefully be in the game before the next devlog. I also managed to squeeze in some time to make some new backgrounds, as well as finally adding the actual art for the stage platforms and floors. The way I made the stage art was by cutting templates out of construction paper in the sizes and shapes I wanted the platforms to be, and then using them the same way I use other templates when painting. This allowed me to create small paintings in the sizes that I wanted the stages to be. This method worked to varying degrees of success, and I was able to create enough unique designs to fill out the stages I currently have in the game. This strategy did not, however, work for the platforms, which are far too small to get a good picture of. My solution for this was to just use other art assets which are in the game and fit them into the size of the platforms. This ended up looking fairly good, and it helps the platforms fit in better with the stages they're placed on. Since I was still in an artsy mood, I decided it was time to finally create the main menus. So, after a couple hours of work programming the interactions and laying out the basic design, here's what I ended up with. The first pass at a main menu features the exit button, an extras button, which does nothing yet, and most importantly, the enter button, which takes you to the second menu I made where you select your game mode that you want to play. Currently, only the back and classic mode buttons work, but the final button will have functionality that I will explain in the next devlog. For now, the plan remains the same as the last devlog, releasing the first demo in February, with the full release of the game coming towards the end of the summer of 26. The plan for the first demo is to include 3 playable characters, as well as the current stages and a super special game mode, which I will go over in the next devlog. Before we can release the demo, there are a lot of quality of life issues that need fixing, such as adding UI to the matches, and implementing the other feedback I got from the playtest. But that's all I have for this devlog. So if you'd like to make sure you catch any future updates to this project, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I wish you good luck on all your endeavors.